Hey everyone, just want to give you a shout out and just want to say thank you so much for continuing to tune in, continue to want to further your education in stock investing. It's time to just get this money and accumulate wealth. So we're going to go ahead and show you now how to set up your account. We're going to use E-Trade and TD Ameritrade just to kind of give some brief overviews on how to set up your account. You can use different brokerage firms. There's Scottrade, there's Fidelity, there's several different accounts. So it's best if you try to find one that's best for you. Also weigh out what their prices may be for some of their transactions, which you'll see such as in this video coming. Hey everyone, so some of you have asked about how to set up a brokerage account, which is simply an account for you to go ahead and start investing with. And we're going to go ahead and use E-Trade as an example and cover with TD Ameritrade later on how to do that process. So here we are on E-Trade's website. So let's go ahead and go to open an account. If we go to the right here, we can view all the pricing and rates. These are the different prices. So basically this is a price per transaction. Stocks, options, and exchange traded funds are $10 per transaction. The more transactions you have per 3 months, the cheaper it will be. Options contracts charge an extra 75 cents, which would be $3 if you had 4 contracts. As well as you can see the information for all the other investment tools. You have bonds, mutual funds, etc. So let's go back to the open an account, and there's basically a brokerage account versus an IRA, which is an individual retirement account. An IRA is similar to your 401k at your job, where you invest money into it and you can't pull it out early before retirement. If you do, there's a high penalty for it. So we'll focus on just the brokerage account portion and hit continue. And you can see over here there's an application checklist. So you need to have your address, a date of birth, a social security number, or an employer identification number, and an employer name and address. To have your address, a date of birth, a social security number, or an employer identification number, and an employer name and address. If you're not a U.S. resident, the process is relatively the same, except you have to do it by mail. You cannot apply online. And there's a note down here about a required minimum deposit of $500 within the first 2 months of opening an account. When I opened my account, this wasn't necessarily the case, and since this notice has been posted, I know people that have opened an account and they haven't had any issues with not having that much money in there. So you might want to check with E-Trade to see how valid that is. So we'll select individual account. I'm new to E-Trade, and we'll use the name Johnny Appleseed and continue. So it's going to ask for your home address, your phone number, your tax information, so your social security number, your date of birth, if you're single, married, divorced, if you have any dependents, as well as your employer information, so your employer name, their address, what it is exactly that you do. And then they're going to ask if you have any ownership in a publicly owned company. Publicly owned company simply means that it's traded on a stock exchange in the market, or if you're a licensed broker and dealer. Then they want to know your investment profile, so your assets and net worth. How much do you make per year in your annual income? What is your liquid net worth? So basically, how much money are you able to have available to you in the next 24 hours? And then your total net worth would be, all your liabilities deducted from your assets. And this would include like rental properties, except they don't want your primary residence included in there. Now your investment activity, that's going to be, how do you primarily plan to use this account? Are you a professional? Is it for retirement? Is it kind of just for you want to make some money now? Is it for a mix of things? It's kind of just to get an idea of what you want to do. What is your investment objective? Is it speculation, growth, and income? Income is related to dividend stocks, so we've covered that in our Market Monday segment. Growth is you're looking for high growth potential with companies, and speculation, maybe there's some companies out there that have some new ideas and you might want to get in on those. And what is your investment experience? If you're new to the program, I would assume that it's none to limited. And how often do you trade? So how many transactions do you plan to make per month? And this is just the question that they're asking. And are there anyone else going to be authorized to have the account? And then you just click yes or no. So now we're going to check with TD Ameritrade to kind of see what their process is like. Now we're here on the TD Ameritrade site. I also have an account with them, but we're going to show you just the process is relatively the same. We're not going to go into too much detail such as with E-Trade. So we'll click on Open New Account in the top left. And you'll see these questions here, so such as your contact information, what's your name, your email address, your phone number, are you a citizen, what type of account, so this is that individual account or brokerage account versus an IRA account, such as with E-Trade. At this time, how do you primarily expect to do what? So this is kind of like how many trades do you expect to do, or what kind of investing do you plan to do? They just want to get a feel for what kind of investor you are, and are you new to investing. And from here on out, the process is pretty much the same, and every side is going to have relatively the same questions, the same requirements also.